Hi, so today we are making a new tutorial series. We're going to be recreating a popular game on Roblox called Doors. I'm sure you're aware of it. It's a horror game where every time you play it, the rooms are generated different. It's a different layout every time, and it makes it fun and interesting, and I just want to go over how that's done. And also, I think it's a good way to teach different areas of Roblox Studio that haven't really been touched on much. So we'll go over, the data storage, the teleporting, the matchmaking. Um, it's it's going to be a really long series, but I think it's going to be fun to make, and I'm looking forward to it. So today, we are only going to be focusing on the matchmaking. So what we have created is, for right now, it's just a single player matchmaking pad. So you can join it by hitting interact, and you can leave the queue. It's a 5-second timer, so if you leave the queue, it's fine, and you can join back in. And if you're here for 5 seconds, since it's the max player count, which is just me, after 5 seconds, it will take you to your new place, and this place is where your rooms will be generated, and we're going to get into that in the next video, so please like and subscribe so I feel like continuing to make them. So, yep, I hope you enjoy the tutorial. Okay, so the first step is we're going to get started with making the matchmaking system. So it will teleport from this main place here into a separate private server. So we'll have party sizes, so you can either play solo or with your friends. And we're going to do it like how a lot of games do it, where there's just little areas that you go to and you meet up with your friends there and you step into the pad or something and it holds you there until it teleports you to the server. So be patient with me because I like to not code the stuff beforehand so I can show you the development process because I feel like it would help me explain it better to you as we go on. So to get started, let's go ahead and go to server script service and create a server script. So we'll rename it, of course. Rename it matchmaking. Keep it neat, because this is going to be our main lobby place. So you want to go ahead and get some services. The only service we're going to need, I think, is going to be the teleport service. So this is what you'd use with Roblox to teleport between places in your game. And if you don't know what that means, I guess we can't see it here because I haven't saved this to Roblox yet, but you have your main game, and then you have different places within the game to where you can teleport them to, privately, or it doesn't have to be private, but yeah, I don't really know how to explain it. It's going to make sense as we go on. So that's how you get the teleport service, and then we're going to need settings. I don't know what we're going to put there. And functions. Okay, so thinking about it, we need to make a table. So let's go ahead and make some zone tables. So we'll just make it one table for all the zones. So all zones, make a table like that. And then for the first zone, we'll make it another table, put the semicolon on the end. And we want to record the max players, the maximum players for the zone. We'll just do a single one for testing for now. And then we also want to have the players that are in the zone. So players in. And this will just be an empty table. We're going to actually insert their player value into the table. Okay? And put a comma after each of these. You should know that. Okay, so we want to have a function to where we can insert the players into the table. We also want to have, so this is going to be a little much, because we also need a way for the players to attempt to join. So be patient with me as I try to figure out I think the important thing now is to go ahead and make a function to teleport the players that are in the zone. So to do that, we're going to create a function here called teleport players in zone. And we're going to want to make an attribute here called zone. So this would be the zone, which would actually just be this table here, or whatever table here. I hate how it's doing that. Why is it doing that? Stop that red line stuff. Okay. This might actually, well, I don't want to do that. I want to put it in a pcall function. So a pcall function protects your game if there's a bug. So for something like teleporting players, a bug can happen there. You could have some sort of connection issue on the client. There's a lot of things that can happen and go wrong there that you cannot control. So for something like this, you want to put it in a pcall function because it protects your game from the error. So the client might have a little issue and they might have to leave the game or whatever, but it's not going to affect the whole server and break your game. So we want to make a local, because we need the ID of the place it's going to. I don't know what it is yet. And then we want to have the code. So the code async is the server's actual code to if it's a party of players, they can all go into the same private server. So that's what the code means. So yeah, that is actually, I do like this. I like the AI sometimes. I hate how I have to like do this if not and if local function. What is this? Okay, so I want to explain this. So this teleports players to private servers. So this creates the private server from the ID, and then it also gets the code from here. Well, actually, this creates the private server. This teleports them to the private server with the code that's discussed here. It gets it. I don't know why it has to call the ID and why I can't just use the code, but you do have to put that in. And then this gets the players that are in the zone. So this calls from this part of the table here. So once that happens, we want to go ahead and set this table to empty. So to do that, this is going to happen even if there's an error. So we want to put it at the bottom here. So we're going to hit zone, and we'll get the players in, and we're going to set it to an empty table. You don't want to put nil, you want to keep it as a table value. So that is going to be that, and now we need something to call this, but first we need some way to put players into the table. So to do that, let's go ahead and create one of our matchmaking spots. So I'm going to speed this up, and I'm going to just do this really fast. So for visual purposes, I'll do about, I love this new one. Why is my properties gone? And you want to anchor it. And then you're going to want to put walls around it. And you're going to want to make these walls transparent. And just put a roof on there in case they like jump on each other and they, I don't know how big the walls are. I think that's perfect. I can actually go up a stud. Okay. It's in here. And then you want to create a button to join the server. So I'm just going to do this like that. Make it like the same, a darker blue. So these guys here, all these other parts, I'm going to go ahead and rename this to the zone. Create a folder for this. And this will be the button part. This this will be the actual models, and this will be our join button, join part. In here we'll create a proximity prompt into the join part, and what we're going to do is go to the zone and add an attribute, and let's go look at our matchmaking. So wait, before we add that, go to the matchmaking and see that it's just zone 1. That's all that is. So this will be a zone ID. So go to the zone and create an attribute, which is down at the bottom here in the properties. You're going to want to do a number, and the name will be zone ID, legal characters, okay, with no space. So zone ID, and you're going to save it, and you're going to set it to 1. This is down here at the bottom of the properties panel. Okay, so that's how you know what zone it's working on, and you can kind of rename this zone 1, 2, just so you know, but don't go off of that in the code. That's just for you. So anyway, back to this, the join part, you want to create a we can go ahead and create some connections down here to where we can get that join part. So no, don't do that. Thinking about how we can do this connection, we're just going to get this. So local, you have to use the name. PRX prompt equals Z1 game.workspace.zone1.joinPart.proximity prompt. And what we can actually do is, in the models here, find which one is the 4. So I'm going to go in here, do this, rename 4, and we're actually going to get this out of here. Boom, like that. So actually, we can actually make a model for here. Zone models. It's going to be kind of stick it up here in the variable section. Okay, so anyway, local zone 1 model equals game.workspace.zone1. And then down here in connections, we'll go zone1 model dot join part dot proximity prompt triggered connect function. So this is going to be how they can join the zone. So when they do that, stop that, stop. Okay. I don't like it. We want to see if they can't join multiple zones at once. Let's say there's a bug and they get out of the box and they're joining multiple things. That is going to mess us up. So we want to check to see if the player is in the zone. So to do that, let's go ahead and create another function. We can just check it right here. Local function, check if player is in zone. And we're going to be getting the player from the trigger. So I want the AI thing to just stop right now. So if check player is in zone, player equals false, then that means that they can join. Well, maybe, because we also want to check to see if the max players is already full. So to do that, we want to check zone availability. So local function check zone availability. Don't judge my spelling. Availability. Fuck that, dude. And to do this, we just want to get the zone ID. ID. Because we'll just send the ID in this, because I don't want to, we can get it from the table later. We don't want to do that here. We could, but why? Just do it there, so every time we can just send the ID over. I don't think we'd have to check it that much though. Okay, if check zone availability, zone ID, oops, zone 1 model, get attribute, zone ID. Oh, it's going to be in. Okay, so that would be your zone ID. So if it is available, then you're going to want to add the player to the zone, which will be another function. I'm going to put it up here though. Function add player to zone. So this one, you're going to want both the player and the zone ID. So now here, I feel like that's all we're going to do is just add the player to zone. Add player to zone. Okay, so let's need the player, and we need this again. Should have made that a variable, so I didn't have to do this, but a little messy, but that's okay. Okay, so let's just check to see what happens. So when you trigger when the player triggers the proximity prompt, it will check to see if the player can join the zone. If they can, because we can also check other things too in this. But right now we're just going to check to see if they're in the zone. If they're not in the zone, then we will check to see if the zone is full capacity. And if it's not, we can then add the player to the zone. So that works beautifully, I think. What we can do here is we're going to go ahead and work on this function here. Let's give it a little room so you can see what we're doing. So in the add the player to zone, we want to get the zone from the table. So we'll say local zone equals all zones zone ID. And then we're going to insert the player into it. Insert zone, the players table, players in, and then the player. And we also, here is when we're going to check to see if the queue is now full. Now that we inserted another player, let's check to see if the queue is full. So if the zone ID, if the number of players in the zone, that's what we're going to check. I forgot what I was doing for a second. Equals zone max players, then teleport players. Kind of. We'll start a little timer before we do that. I think we should start timer. Oops. Local function start zone timer. And we'll just get the zone because we already have that here. So start timer, start zone timer. So, okay, and here we'll just say for I equals 1, we'll set the timer to 10, do wait 1 second. And then we'll have if pound zone. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're checking to see if the player count's still right. Because if it's not, we're not going to teleport him. And we need to have max players in the zone for it to teleport. Because we'll have like a single player mode of, Warren. So anyway, if there's not enough players, then we're going to break it. And also this is in the loop. We want to do it, check it again, because a whole second's going to pass. No, it's not. You know what? I'm going to check anyway. You can't overcheck it. So right here, we'll do this, and we'll say, I'm just going to make it one line. And then, if it all passes, all this happens successfully, then we can teleport the players in the zone. So we're going to send the zone. Pretty easy. Anyway, so this isn't going to work yet, of course, because this isn't returning anything and this isn't returning anything. So we want to work on this now to check to see if the player is in a zone to where it can return a true value, or a false value. So we'll say local to return equals true. So we want it to pass this, because if it return val to return. So as of right now, it will not allow the player, because it needs to equal false, and it's true right now. So it won't allow it, so let's make it to where it will allow it. So we're going to check to see if they're in a join, in a thing, so we're going to loop through all of the zones. So we'll do one of these bad boys. We're also going to loop through the players in table of that zone. Like that. And if the player is the player, then they can't. Oh, you know what? I did that wrong. Set this to true and set this to false. So they can join as soon as this goes, but if they check this and then the player's in it, then it's true, which will not allow it to do this. So hopefully, the player's not in his zone and this won't fire, so it will return false to where this can fire. Okay. No. Okay, that works. Okay. Now we want to check the zone availability, and we want this to return if equals true. Wait. I don't think I even need to type that. I think it already checks to see if it's true, but I like to, just in case. Get some coffee, 1 second. Okay, so we want to turn it into available, so let's make a so we're going to do it the other way this time. We're going to do it the way I was thinking about doing it last time, the setup of, so it's false, but we want to make it true. So if it's not max players, so if the number of all zones, zone ID, players in is less than all zones, zone ID, so that's the zone that we're talking about, max players, I feel like I'm not explaining this enough, then, so if there's not enough players, then it's going to available equals true. Wait. Yeah, if there's not enough players, then it's going to be true. So, perfect. That means, you can put a player in there, so it's true. So, what's going to happen is it's going to print, and it's going to warn an error message when it's all said and done, because this is nil. And plus, you also, even if that wasn't nil and we have it saved and we have a place set up, it's still going to return this because it doesn't work in Studio. It only works after you publish the place. So anyway, let's just go ahead and play it. No bugs yet, so that is... How long did I set the zone timer for? 10 seconds, okay. I don't know why I set it so long. Okay. Okay, so it worked kinda. I don't know why it returned. Oh, well, yeah, because ID's no. So anyway, it kind of worked. Let's kind of make it a little more visible on what's going on. So like when we add a player to the zone, so it's say player.character.humanoid boot part. So this is going to set equals zone1 model dot floor dot c-frame plus vector 3, because we want it to be in the air a little bit, 0, 5, 0. So this would teleport them into the thing. You know, we're also going to have to give them a way to let's create a variable for this. Local zone timer equals 10. Well, let's make it 5 because I don't want to wait that long. So we'll do this as zone timer, and we're going to have this print zone timer minus I, and that should work fine. Okay, 4, 3, 2, 1, error. Or error, okay. Same error, so that's what we wanted to happen. So what we're going to do now is make it to where it doesn't make an error. So let's go ahead and save this place to Roblox, and we're going to call it Door Game Tutorial Place. Me, team create, no thanks. I don't know, okay. Okay, now it's saved as something, so now we can have different places. So what we're going to do is we're going to create, if you don't see this, go to View, and then click Asset Manager right here, and it should pop up. So once you have that open, go to Places, and you're going to add a new place. So now we have another place. We're going to rename this to Board Game. Or just board place. And you're going to copy the asset ID to the clipboard, and you go down here to the ID, and you're going to paste it. That didn't copy my ID. Okay, there, so now you have your server ID, and it creates your server code, teleports, perfect. So anyway, that's just going to give us a different error now. What we do need to make is a way for the player to leave the lobby. So in order to do that, it might be best for us to create a UI. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go to Starter GUI, and create a screen GUI, and it's going to be Bobby QUI, and we're going to create a text button, leave queue, and we're going to just make it to where it's not super ugly for now. I'm not going to do like a UI tutorial, so you guys would have to, you know, design this by yourself, because I don't care that much. Leave queue button. Okay. So rename this leave queue button. And this is really annoying because, so anyway, create a local script in that, and it's going to be local player equals game.players.local player, local UI equals script.payment, local leave button equals UI.leave button, leave button.mouse button, oops, mouse button one done, connect function, nothing there, okay. Now we're going to want to fire a server thing, So go to replicated storage and create a folder and rename it events. And create a remote event. Oops, that's not a remote event. Yeah, create a remote event and rename it leave queue. So go game.replicatedStorage.events leave queue fire server. And you don't have to send an attribute here because it automatically sends the player's name or player value. So in the connections, we're going to create a connection. So game.replicatedStorage.events.leaveQueue on server event. And now we have the player. And to do this, we're going to have to create a remove player from zone function. Remove player from zone player, and we'll check to see what zone they're in. So we have to find a zone. So local zone found equals, well, we don't have one yet, so just do it as nothing, and then if zone found doesn't equal nil, then why did that happen? Okay. So we're gonna if we found a zone, we're gonna find the player value in the like the index almost. So we want to loop through the players looking for the player that it is. So anyway, so player in iPairs zone found players in. So if player equals player, then we're going to remove zone found players in. Oopsies. What the fuck? Players in. And it will be the index of table find zone found. You should never do it like this. You should create another index value and have it. But this is fine. I don't care. Player. You want to make sure you do this player, not this player, because it's going to be a different index value. Or maybe not. Just do this one, because I feel like that's going to work better. Okay. So anyway, that's going to do that, and if you remove that player, you want to say that player dot. We're going to do this again. But instead of that, we're going to send like way to the right or something. So 15 is such to the right, that would be out of the zone. Don't do that, because what if there's a zone right next to it? Do the join part. Just send them right over the join part, so that's fine. So anyway, that will remove them from the queue. And another thing that can happen is there could be a bug where, well, this isn't helping us very much, is it? Let's go ahead and see if that works, and then I'll talk about the bug thing. But that's not exactly. We want to make that to where that's only visible when. So go ahead and select your UI, go to the properties, and disable it to where it's not visible. And then in your matchmaking, when you do the matchmaking, go ahead and do this. Create another remote event for join queue. And in your local script, say a connection. So it would be game.replicatedStorage.events.joinQueue on client event connect function, and we're going to say UI.enable equals true, because I want to keep that on the client side. And if this happens, then we're going to say UI.enabled equals false. So that way the UI would disappear. And then we want to say when we add a player to the zone, go to add player to zone, and after the table.insert, you're going to want to send that remote event. So game.replicateStorage.event.joinQueue fire client player. And what you can do if you want to get fancy with this is you can actually send the zone ID or the actual whole table of information to where if you want more information on your UI to where you can show how many players are in the server, and then it can be updated every single time somebody joins. We're not going to do all that because that's not really necessary. So that's going to be that. So anyway, let's see what's going on now. So we can go up to our thing, we can join. It's counting down, 3, 2, 1. There's going to be an error. H2, whatever, forbidden. So anyway, leave queue is not going to work because we're not in a thing. So let's go ahead and try to leave queue. Okay, leave queue did not work. Let's see where the bug lies. Leave queue, file server. Remove player from zone. Oh, it's not. I knew I was going to forget to do that. We have to find the zone the player's in. So to do that, we're going to have to cipher through our zones. Why is it? Oh. Blank. In I pairs. What the fuck? What am I? I'm an idiot. Okay, zone in I pairs, all zones, do, and then we have to cycle through the players again. Wait, what? So this is ciphering through the players in the zone to see if they're in the zone. If player equals player, then zone bound equals zone. Look at that, dude. And then it went ahead and did out error because there's not enough players. So if we do it again, it just starts from the top. 1, 0, oh no. Forbidden, but we can still leave the, oh, okay, why not? See how that restarts. So anyway, if there's an error and it sends like this, I don't want those players to be bugged out and just stuck in there. So what we can do is actually teleport them out. So for player in I pairs zone players in do char equals player dot character char dot humanoid root char dot this right here. And we don't need this. So do that, because if there's an error, you can just teleport them out. So that's what's going to happen after the 3 seconds. You're going to be teleported out because there's going to be an error. And it's beautiful, and that needs to actually be. So instead of doing this, we're going to say remove player from zone. In order to do that, let's take this function, copy it, delete it, and put it over on top of the teleport players in zone. And that way we can then remove players from zone, and you can send the player. and you'll see that it's going to have the same thing, and it's going to remove the UI from our thing. It did not remove our UI. Let's see what's going on. So when we remove a player from the zone, oh, well, we don't have it doing that, do we? We only have it doing it if they teleport. I mean, not if they teleport, if they hit the button. So do this game.locateSource.events.leave_queue.onClientEvent connect function and UI.enable equals false. And this way, when you do this right here, boom, tables.remove, game.locateSource.events.leave queue by your client player. Okay, so if there's a bug, it's going to remove that UI from your thing. Okay, so we're chilling. I can leave it like this, and it times out just fine. Now you're like, okay, how do I know you're not full of shit? How do I know that this works? So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and go to your game settings and go to your security. You're going to allow HTTP request. I don't know if we need that for this, but we also need to enable API. This is the things that we're going to need for this game. So, and also enable third-party teleports. I don't know if we need that. Okay. So, enable those three things. Now you're going to go and you're going to save your project. And then you're going to go and you're going to publish to Roblox. So now you're going to open up your new place. Oops, sorry, door place. And you're going to do the same thing. So you're going to say File, Save to Roblox, File, Publish to Roblox. Okay, so you can go ahead and close out of this. And also, I forgot about the bug thing I wanted to talk about. So make a debugger section and game.players.playerremoving. Because if they leave while in the queue, you know, not cool. So just do that. So go ahead and save to Roblox again and then publish it again. Hello? I'll get some coffee. Okay, so go ahead and close the thing I'm recording on. It doesn't let me switch between windows, but what I did is, you know, you saw that I published everything and then I saved everything from both places. So what I did is I went ahead and went to the Roblox website and found my game. So you can just go through the Creator Hub and click if you want Roblox, and it'll show you to your game screen with your play button. So you click on the play button and you join it just like any other Roblox game. And you can go ahead and walk over to the queue thing. And you're going to want to make like a timer up above here or something. We can do that later. But that's not... Okay. It worked. So you see it took us to door place. There is ways to make a custom loading screen for your new place to where it doesn't have the default one. So we can get into that later, but when you're developing a game, you don't want to worry about that nitty-gritty type of stuff. You just want to get the main functions down. So for this tutorial, we just went over the very basics of the matchmaking. We don't have any fancy, you know, UI or anything to show you what's going on, just enough to show you, to get you where you need to go for the testing. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and create the room not this tutorial, but next tutorial we're going to create a very simple room generation script. So it's going to create, our 100 rooms. We'll do 100 rooms from here, and they're all going to connect end to end and go all the way to the end. And then the next tutorial, we're going to make like outdoors to where you can track to see what room the player's in. And then we'll create our respawns. I don't know if this is the order I'm going to do it in, but we want to create a respawn system to where you can, with Robux, you could respawn, or maybe if you want to set it up with an in-game currency instead of Robux. And talking about that, we're also going to have to do data storage. We want to save different game sessions that they've done. We want to save every single game session. We want to save where they died at, how they died, how much money they made. So we're going to have to do data storage that links between, so we can go over that stuff. This game is going to go over a lot of principles, and I'm excited to make the tutorials on it. So anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. It means a lot to me. I only have like 4 subscribers right now. So really, every single one counts. Every video like I get, it really brightens my day when I get that notification on my phone. So if you guys do that, if you joined the tutorial, thanks for watching, and have a good day.